Welcome to the Win, Make, Give podcast. This is Ben Kinney. Today I'm joined with my two partners in crime, Chad Himes and Bob Stewart, and we're going to do something a little bit different today. We're going to learn some lessons from history. Win, Make, Give is 3 words. The first one is about winning. What better way could we find to learn about winning than to pick a leader who we could see over history has succeeded at the highest possible levels? Today, we jump into the history, the results, and the life lessons that can be learned by studying one of America's greatest leaders, Mr. Jack Welch.
I never think of strategy as one thing. I think strategy, execution, and people all go together. And if you don't get the people right, the strategy doesn't matter. And if you don't get the people right, you won't get the execution. So you're dead. So from my standpoint, strategy is sort of a purist thing. It's more academic. Execution and getting it done is what it's all about.
Now, Chad, who's Jack Welch? What was he most known for?
Well, I think we all know him as the chairman and CEO of General Electric, Ben.
Where I get my power?
Well, maybe, possibly.
What else?
Light bulbs. Your light bulbs definitely come.
Light bulbs, ovens,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. Actually, historically, GE has owned hundreds and hundreds of companies. They build a vast majority of things that we probably didn't even know that they were a part of.
If you walk through your house right now, you'll be surprised seeing the GE logo that you never noticed was there before.
Yeah, or all the other products that don't say GE but are actually owned by GE, right?
Absolutely.
But let's go back in time. Jack Welch is an interesting leader to study because there's controversy and there's critics. There's also results.
Great results.
And he's left a legacy.
That's for sure.
You know, what I thought was interesting in studying Jack Welch was he had many job offers after graduating with his bachelor's in science and chemical engineering. But instead of jump on those offers, he decided to roll the dice, stick in college. He ended up with a master's, an MBA, and a doctorate in chemical engineering. Now, Chad, what was his first job?
He was a junior chemical engineer. Can you believe it that that's what he did with GE? Right? He went there, Ben, at a salary originally $10,500.
In 1960.
Correct, which today would be around $90,000 a year. So
I think his golden parachute when he ended up leaving was a little bit bigger than that, but
just a little bit, Bob. I think it ended up somewhere we were looking up around $417 million as a severance package when he finally decided to leave GE.
I'd leave today.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm out. I'm bailing on this free podcast with no advertising. I'm out of here. $417 million. See ya.
Yeah, absolutely. He never had a career with anybody except General Electric, Ben. He worked his way from a junior chemical engineer through various positions at the company up to becoming the youngest chairman and CEO they ever had in their history.
In 1981, he actually became the CEO of GE. Now, if you study history, you could find a speech that he made called Growing Fast in a Slow Economy. See, Welch was known for taking General Electric, GE, from being a $12 billion market cap company in 1981 when he took over being CEO to over $410 billion when he retired.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that's a pretty incredible growth story. During that time, he helped GE make over 600 acquisitions. They went into a variety of markets, products, services, and he made tough decisions, really tough decisions. And because of that, he got a reputation.
Sure
In
did.
fact, one phrase that I heard them use was rank and yank. Rank and yank, Bob, what does that mean?
that means you put them in order and the people at the bottom got to go.
Yeah, you take your people, you put them on a list, and you say, this one's green, yellow, and brown. right? Green, you love. You're going to promote and give bonuses, right? Yellow's a warning. They're like, they're okay. You're going to try to grow them. Brown, what does it do?
We yank them.
It goes
You
down.
flush it.
Brown goes down. You
Yeah,
flush,
you
it.
Come on, Bob. You've heard that one before. Now, Ben, the interesting thing, though, is there was no question. It was the top 20% were green and the bottom 10% were brown. He didn't sit there and say, well, I kind of like Bob, so I'm going to let him be green. No, it was the top 20% got those bonuses and opportunities, and the bottom 10% were out every year.
Every year.
Every year. So you might have had a great year this year. That didn't earn you anything next year. You got ranked and yanked.
When he started in 1981, GE had over 400,000 employees.
Yep.
In 5 years alone, they were down to 299,000, right? A drop of over 100,000 employees with most likely more companies, more divisions,
Growth.
more products.
They grew, yet he cut the employees in the span of 5 years at a dramatic number. This is one of the things Jack is known for. It's one of the things that made GE as successful as it became, yet at the same time, there's the good and the bad of it.
In fact, he even got a nickname for it. You remember what that was?
Yeah, Neutron Jack.
Boom, because he dropped a bomb in there and wiped out half the crew.
Yeah, it was amazing that you could just know this. He didn't have to think about it, and everybody knew it. If you were not performing well, you knew you were going to end up in the bottom 10%. Have a nice job.
In leadership and running a business, that's a tough thing because I've been on both sides of this equation, right? I worked for AT&T, Comcast, AT&T broadband, TCI. I freaking got canned more than tuna at that place. I'd been laid off in 3 times in 7 years working for big companies. And it wasn't always because I was the lowest producer, right? Sometimes I felt like I was the highest producer, but I wasn't in a department that the company cared about that day or that time. And over time, they brought me back and so on. As an employee, I hated it. I've also been in a position as a leader and a manager and a business owner where I sit back and say, hey, I'm running a football team here, Bob, right? And I know, Bob, that I love you, that we're friends and everything, but you're a crappy quarterback. If I was running a great team like the Seahawks, right, would I put in a crappy quarterback just because I like you?
No, you wouldn't do that.
No, you wouldn't do that, right? That's something the 49ers or somebody else would do.
I love when Ben gets sports analogy on us because it's just highly entertaining. Keep going, Ben.
Well, when you only have 11 positions on a football field, every position matters.
Yes.
And the only way to bring in new flesh. The only way to
The only way to bring in new flesh is to get rid of the old dead flesh.
new fresh staff. You got to get rid of. You got to make some room there. And Jack got a reputation for doing that, but because of that, he ended up running more efficient businesses that were more profitable, that could withstand recessions, economic crises, right? Grow when technology and other things were changing, survive those catastrophic events because he had a commitment on being efficient.
You know, and Ben had also set clear expectations for the people who worked at GE. You knew it wasn't a secret. You knew, and everything you read on it, it wasn't some hidden thing that they discussed behind some closed door. The company knew you were in the bottom 10%, you were on your way out. It was clear expectations. Put up or get out of the way.
I'll bet they had a pretty robust system for people to know where they ranked throughout the year too, right? Like I'm sure that they were doing their monthly and their quarterly reviews, and everybody kind of knew where they stood, right? And you could choose to buckle down and work harder and try to get up out of that bottom 10%, or you could choose to go from that yellow category and try to dig and claw your way up to become one of those top 20%ers then that got the opportunities. So in either case, whether you're trying to reach that top 20% or stay out of that bottom 10%, people have a reason to grow and shine and work hard.
The reality is that great leaders have to make tough decisions. And there's going to be criticism for it. And I don't know Jack personally, so I can't tell you if he was a great person or anything other than what I've read in all the books and all the studies and listened to his conversations. What I can tell you is that his message resonates with me. Jack Welch believed that you needed to build an organization that built and trained and grew leaders. he taught many places, namely his own employees, his own managers, and his own leaders. In fact, it's said that over 35 of today's top CEOs were actually trained under Jack Welch.
He was named Manager of the Century by Fortune magazine, and they coined him the CEO of CEOs. I mean, this is the one they all look to when they wanted to figure it out. And Ben, one of the things that I find fascinating, we've got this 10% cut on this side, we got the 20% bonus on this side, is that he created an organization that he believed was boundaryless. Okay? And
Chad's been practicing that word
I worked on that word for a while.
all day.
I worked on that word. And he
nailed
believed in that because he wanted to make sure that he knew ideas came from anywhere. It didn't matter. Sometimes the janitor has the best idea on how to be efficient on something. Sometimes that new person sees things with a different eye. They have a great idea. And he was one of the first people to really remove those barriers to help finding great ideas anywhere in the organization and making sure it got shared around the organization.
Yeah, Jack was known for hating bureaucracy, boundaries, limits, walls, management hierarchies. He didn't like that. Formalities
Yeah.
would be another one. Yeah. In fact, many articles, many books have been written on the different lessons that Jack has taught his leader, his organizations, so many other companies and individuals like us out there. Let's dive in to some of the tenets of leadership that Jack Welch was known for.
So where do you want to start, Ben? Because there's so many. Let's pick one that you want to start talking about.
Well, one of them is really close to my heart. It's simplify. He said that keeping things simple is the key to business. He also said that if you want to get to market faster, make it simple. He believed in eliminating clutter. He believed in making fast decisions by having a more simple message, a more simple design, removing all the complication. You know, in our lessons, Chad, we say people tend to justify their inaction by complicating things.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah, and they use that as a reason that they actually can't move forward. So one of his rules of leadership was you got to simplify. You got to simplify everything so that you can act fast.
You know what's fascinating? This is a guy that's a chemical engineer by trade who's realized that simplifying things is the way to get people to take action, right? Like, can you imagine a more complex brain than a chemical engineer? And just him realizing one of the things, Ben, that we've talked about is the idea that like taking complex subjects and making them easy to understand and then just reiterating that easy to understand thing, right? Just reiterating that message over and over. I bet, you know, inside of a company like GE that Welch was doing that often.
Yeah, pounding that same nail again and again and again and again.
That's but a simple message, right? On what could be a very complex thing that he's talking about.
All right, so simplify. Got it. There's a powerful message from Jack. Now, Ben, there's one that I think is a great one that Jack shares, and we've talked about it on many of our other episodes as well, and that's, you know, reality. Whether we talked about it in our wealth building series of knowing our reality, whether we talked about it in the emotional intelligence conversation, but one of the ones was facing reality. Talk a little bit about that lesson that Jack shared with us over the years.
Funny enough, we use the word reality a lot in a lot of our podcast conversations, models, and just things that you and I talk about. Jack believed that you had to face reality and then act. Where are you at today before you figure out what step you're going to take left, right, or forward? He said that most mistakes that leaders make come from them being unwilling to face reality or unwilling to actually go act on it. He said that facing reality sometimes means doing things, saying things, or coming to grips with things that may not be all that popular.
Do you believe it's because of ego that people won't face reality?
Yeah, denial, ego, fear. Yeah, I think all those things stop us from facing reality. You know, we're often overly optimistic, especially in tough times. The conversation that goes through our head is, this is going to end soon. I can make it for the next couple of weeks. It never crosses our mind that this could go on for months and months and months, or years and years and years. And by the time you actually come to that realization, it's too late.
Because you refuse to face reality and act decisively, which is a lesson that Jack taught his people all the time. You know, Bob, you've got 2 kids.
I do. I have 3 kids, 2 little ones that are just terrorizing me every day.
And you are a leader to them in that regard as well. This isn't only leadership lessons that have to be at the workplace. So you have to sometimes face reality with the boys where they might be in life, or a decision they're about to make, and you have to act decisively.
Yeah.
Especially
absolutely.
right now, they're about to leap off something in the house onto something, aren't they?
Right. Yeah. Every day they're doing that kind of thing. I think, in our business, we are often more Ben said earlier, you're optimistic, right? And there's a mindset of optimism, I think, that comes with being a leader. But man, you got to get out of your own way sometime and just Ben, I think one of the things that you do well in this regard is you have people around you that help you face reality. Right? You've got the Davids and the Rosses and the people that are willing to like grab you and shake you and say, hey, like, we got to face the reality of this right now. And sometimes you're even being like forced to make decisions or act decisively because somebody came not necessarily to your rescue, but they kind of grabbed you and shook you and said, hey man, we got to do something about this right now. Like, this is happening. Yeah. So it's not just a leader's like job to do this, right? You maybe surround yourself with people that are also helping to accomplish this.
Well, you have to surround yourself with people that are willing to tell you the truth, even if you don't like to hear it. That's like your financial person, your CFO, your accountant needs to say, you can't afford to do this, right? Or you're going in the wrong trajectory. And your legal person, your HR person, say, you need to slow your roll, Ben, right? Or just one of your partners needs to say, I don't think that came out right. You should probably go apologize, or we're not moving fast enough, or whatever that might be. Yeah. Absolutely.
Which leads to the next leadership lesson. You segue brilliantly without even realize you're doing it sometimes, I think, Ben. And that takes us to another one of those leadership lessons. And the things I love about these Jack Welch lessons that we're learning is, boy, aren't these things that we didn't realize we learned them from Jack, yet we've been doing a lot of these things. And this one is cultivating leaders. And we've talked about growing other leaders from within your organization and stuff. Let's talk a little bit about cultivating other leaders.
Well, what Jack did, he said that there are 4 E's, E like echo, right, of leadership: energy, energize, edge, and execution. Now, do you have energy to show up every single day, right, and move the ball forward? Do you personally? And do you give people energy, or do you take their energy, right? Are you going and injecting energy into the workplace, into the organization?
So right? Energizing others.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
The third E is edge, right? Do you have a little bit of an edge to you? Like Chad definitely has a little bit of an edge to him. He's like a New Yorker edge kind of edge, right?
I'll take it.
Are you willing to go in there and allow it to be a little bit rough, right? And for everything not to feel hunky-dory and super comfortable, got to have an edge. Are you willing to be a little bit on the line and take some risks, right? And then lastly, it's my favorite E, it's execution. We can have ideas for days, but it's execution that really makes an organization hum.
You know, you've talked about this energy one before, and in a past episode where you've driven to the office and then you'll just sit there in your car and you'll just say, nope, I'm not going in today. This is just one of those days I don't have the energy to actually do that. And then Bob, we've talked in a past episode about you've got an amazing amount of energy to you, and making sure that you're energizing those around you, not just taking it from them, not necessarily going and picking on that one person who's, I'm going to get on him about it, but it's energizing those that are around you on the team.
Yeah. So for me, energy comes natural, but energizing others is something I have to focus on, think about, make sure I'm doing that.
And where I'll have the energy to go into work, I love it. It's my favorite thing to do is to go to work. Usually I love doing it. And I can energize people. I seem to have the ability to pass that on, but you're right, Ben, I got that edge. And sometimes it's a good thing to have that edge in your leader, yet sometimes you've got to watch that edge in your leader in a situation where it could become too sharp of an edge.
Absolutely. Jack said that that an organization has to constantly seek new ideas. You have to come with a belief that says there's somebody somewhere that has a better idea, that we can learn something, that we don't have it all figured out. Somebody's already fixed this problem. When you have that mindset, you're able to find solutions and put them into action quickly because somebody's already figured it out.
Might not be in your industry, yet they figured it out.
No, it actually could. It could involve change. In fact, Jack said that change is a reality of business and that our willingness to change is actually our strength. Even, and Bob Stewart, you're going to laugh at this, he said that even if it means plunging part of the company into total confusion for a while, change can be both exhilarating and fun. Have we ever put the whole company into a state of confusion for a while?
Which week did we do?
We're launching a new product. What are we going to price it? I don't know.
What are we going to call it?
Tomorrow. What are you going to call it? I don't know. What
Is it built yet? No, but are we going to sell it? Yes.
And we figure it out. Creates a little bit of chaos, but that's okay. It's also fun. It's exhilarating, and it allows us to take advantage of opportunities. Jack Welch said that change equals opportunity.
Bob, do you like change?
I do, yeah.
Ben, you like change?
I hate being bored, right? So change is good for me.
Right. Now remember, folks, we're not talking about change just for the sake of change. We're talking about change for a right reason. And Ben, there's something that Jack also said. He talked about when change happens, a lot of people don't like change. I think the three of us are in the minority of people who actually like change. He said people don't always like change, and we have to make sure they understand the why behind change that's happening around them. Talk about that for a minute and how we make sure that everybody's seeing that vision that's being cast so that they can get through that why of change.
Yeah, he said the leader's job is to provide a clear vision, to come up with a vision that would inspire people to act, but not necessarily figure out all the details in between. Chad, can you see over there? That's where we're going. Are you ready to go? Get going.
Right.
Because how Chad gets there isn't as important as his clarity that that's where we're going. Because often, have you set a goal in your life? I want to make X amount of money, or I want to do X amount of things, or whatever that might be. And it actually happened, but the path to get there changed multiple times.
All the time.
Right? Nobody would thought that we'd be doing what we're doing today as a job or a career, right? I didn't go to college for whatever the heck I do every single day. Like, nobody taught me this shit, right? It just happened to be that it was the path. But the vision was clear. The vision was we're going to do something that we can be number one or number two at. We're going to do something that helps others become wealthy. And when we create wealth in our company and wealth for other people, we're going to give it away to help our community, our families, our friends, and the causes that we care about. Now, how do we do that, Chad? We do that by not creating a culture of managers in an organization, but by creating a culture of leaders. Leaders who are clear on the vision, leaders who are clear that they have to simplify things. We're looking for leaders that can do the 4 E's. E for echo, right? Energy, energize, edge, and execute. We want those types of people, not the management hierarchies that are in corporate America that slow things down. You ever worked at a company, anybody, where you have to send something off to somebody to get somebody to approve it who's not really authorized, so has to get put up to somebody else, who 3 or 4 months later, you finally get a logo approved on a product that you've decided to throw away? That's what corporate America feels like, right? Too many management layers, right? They don't understand that Jack Welch said you need to manage less, Chad.
I'm going to say the word again. I'm going to see if I can do it. That's that boundaryless organization that he was building. Getting those managers that are just there for the sake of being there out of the way. That's getting the guy who needs the logo approved, getting right to the person who can approve it for him or make the changes so that he can get the results he's looking for, that execution part of those 4 E's.
Or just empower the guy making the logo to go out and use the logo that he made. Ben, you got rid of you called us, I don't know how many weeks ago it was, and put us all in a room and said, okay, we don't have managers here anymore. I mean, you essentially, and it's not like you fired all the people that were managers. You just said, like, you guys are now producers. You're leader, right? You're leading your teams first and foremost, but you're not managing them anymore. You're producing with them just like your teams are. So, yeah, I mean, and look, that was, in a crazy time in our business, I guess. And so maybe that was a decision that you made based on, just the timing and what was happening. But it sounds like Jack would agree with you that was the right decision.
When you hire great people, you look like a great leader. I've said in the past that nobody's an amazing leader of marginal people. And great leaders do not want to work with barriers and controls and hierarchy and management sitting over top of them. What they want is they want people that say, this is what you got to go do. This is when I expect it to be done. This is the end result. Go figure it out. See, bureaucracy, supervision, control, management, documentation, all that stuff, it can kill the competitive spirit of a company. We don't want managers. We want leaders in our organization. We want self-confident, accountable, motivated people with energy, who energize, right? Who have a little bit of an edge, Bob Stewart, right? We might have a little bit of an edge. We might be slightly offensive. And Chad Himes, who can frickin' execute. Execute. Now, another thing we want for our organization is we want fun, Chad. We want a bunch of fun. Now, why do we want fun?
I don't know. We don't have any around here, so
get out of here. I mean, we want people to want to come to work, right? We want them to get up and know that when they come in, there's something there for them, right? A new set of challenges, or literally just like they enjoy being there.
If work is fun, we don't count down till Friday. If work is fun, Monday's actually one of our favorite days of the work week because we're excited to get back to what we have, which is that fun opportunity at the job.
People get discouraged by working too many hours because they don't love what they do. They don't have purpose and passion and buy-in to it, so it feels like work. If I'm working after hours on the nights or weekends or sending ideas or text or things to our people, it's because I'm passionate and excited about it, and I'm reaching out to people who I think are also passionate and excited about it. We don't think of it as an interruption, right? When Bob calls me at 10:30 p.m. and says, hey, I got an idea. See this, check this out, right? We actually think it's fun. We get energy from our job.
And I will just say, I answer those messages in the morning when it's fun time for me. Let's be real clear on this.
Yeah, Chad's the grandparent of the family here. He goes to bed at 8 p.m., right?
And he gets up at 4.
Yeah.
Bob and I are just going to sleep then.
Yeah.
It's fun. And we have to make sure we're having that fun because you don't go somewhere that's not fun. If you're not having fun in your marriage falls apart. If you're not having fun working out, you're going to just give yourself any excuse not to work out. If you're not having fun at work, you're going to stop working. And we need to make sure that we create that culture of fun. Jack always made sure he brought that lesson to his teams.
He also said that we should focus on innovation. Now, I'll tell you one thing, innovation is actually fun. When you're growing and doing something different, that's fun. Right? Imagine being in a position where you made rivets every day for the whole rest of your life and they were the same color, the same size, the same use forever. That job, to me, now somebody else might enjoy it, but for me, that would not be fun.
The other thing about that job is it's going to be gone. Give it another 5 years, that job will be automated out of existence, right? All of those jobs were the same things done over and over.
Yeah, we want to focus our organization on innovation and quality.
I love when he's talking about innovation, Ben. One of the things that we learned from Jack is he doesn't want you to make small innovation changes either. He's saying don't look for that incremental change. He always taught look for the quantum leap.
Yeah.
What's that big change that you can make that's going to have that impact?
Yeah. What's going to have compound growth?
Right.
Now he said with innovation comes quality, Chad.
Right.
That you have to take quality to a whole new level. That your product is so valuable to your customers, so important to their success, that whatever you offer becomes the only choice for that person. Can you guys think of a product out there that you use that if somebody brought you a generic version or like a replacement edition, you'd be ticked?
Peanut butter, like the peanut butter brand that I eat, I cannot eat off-brand peanut butter. It's disgusting.
You know what, Bob? I feel the same way. Like, I like this Hagen grocery store crunchy peanut butter, and if somebody brings me something else, I don't like it. I like my Lowry's garlic salt with the green lid. Like, I'm very much specific and bought into quality.
You were in the peanut butter of the month club at one time.
I bet they're all stocked in his pantry somewhere because peanut butter is an acquired taste. You like the peanut butter you like.
You don't get a body like this eating kale, Chad. Like this is a body by peanut butter if I've ever seen one. I guarantee it. When you think about all the lessons that Jack Welch has taught you, taught Bob, taught me, whether it's speed, it's about simplicity, acting small, innovation, quality, having fun in your organization, creating confidence, involving others, removing boundaries, Chad, so you can be
boundaryless. Boundaryless. I will keep saying it.
A learning organization, an organization that grows leaders, that puts values and vision first, an organization that removes blockers, that seeks out new ideas. Jack Welch was a leader of leaders, a creator of leaders, a grower of leaders. He grew a massive organization that changed millions of lives, and Jack Welch will be missed in the business, leadership, corporate worlds today.
Ben, I appreciate you taking us through this look at the lessons that came from such a powerful leader like Jack Welch. I'm excited about who's going to be next in our historical look for lessons. You have any teases for what might be an upcoming episode of who we might have a look at next?
I don't know if I could give a tease or a hint because that wouldn't be fair. I just know that it's going to be good. In fact, I would probably give it a V for victory.
All right.
V for victory.
Quiet down, Bob. Don't tell anyone anything.
A V for victory, Chad Himes. If I was looking in the future at another study of a historical leader, I'd be looking for a V for victory.
All right. And there are some amazing leaders, and I'm looking forward to this series because, wow, the lessons we got from Jack there were fantastic. Remember to make sure you subscribed to the Win, Make, Give podcast. Make sure you share this episode with someone that you know needs to hear the lessons of Jack Welch broke down into an easy format and conversation like we just had. You can send them the link to winmakegivepodcast.com where they can go and they can learn more about it. Make sure that you subscribe, leave us a rating, and we would love your reviews. And then come join us at facebook.com/groups/winmakegive, where the conversation will continue. Until then, please make sure you're always washing your hands, and remember, do good.